Let's talk about the big four of shoegaze. Who were they? The consensus would say that it's My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive, and Ride. All on the legendary Creation Records label, headed by Alan McGee, Dick Green, and Joe Foster. Established in 1983, they quickly signed the Jesus and Mary chain, one of the big precursors of the genre. But is Jesus and Mary chain really shoegaze? I don't think so. I think it's straight up punk with more aggressive intentions. So, who is that fourth member then? And do you agree? Do you even agree with the three that are established already? Do you agree with that? My Bloody Valentine, Slow Dive, and Ride, Trinity, Holy Trinity. But there's certainly weight to it. My Bloody Valentine providing the mermaid falling into a black hole, to borrow a quote, style. Uh, this mesh of distortion and different jazz master tones swelling about with this beautiful angel just swooning in between it. You've got Slow Dive, bringing the ambience. Brian Eno would be so proud of them. A great wall of sound, aggressive, powerful ambience. That's how I would describe Slow Dive. Powerful ambience. It's a wall of sound. It's ambient. It should be very lightweight. It should be relaxing. But they've got this momentum behind, driving those guitars, creating this big stereo field, stereo width. I can't wait to hear Slow Dive in Dolby Atmos. That would be incredible if when you can hear it above your head and below your chin, like that, like fully dimensional sound will be incredible. And I hope everything is alive. The new album due in September will be like compatible with Dolby Atmos, because that would be some experience. Well, if you can afford it, anyway. But yeah, I think, and then you've got Ride in the indie rock kind of corner. The traditional kind of indie sound, Stone Roses, The Smiths, but with these great noise uh, moments I would call it, these noise moments, intervals, and just paired with great songwriting and a diverse sound with a drummer that just drives the band and creates so much energy that you can really bounce around to that sound. So there's the big three, and I think there's definitely big weight behind that, with them being the big three. But if there was going to be a fourth member, could Chapterhouse be in there? Or are they too similar to Ride? Because when I listened to Whirlpool for the first time, I heard Nowhere. There was definitely a Nowhere vibe, and Nowhere came out a year before Whirlpool. Nowhere, October the 15th, 1990. Whirlpool, May 1991. And even the EPs sound like Ride. Sunburst, Freefall, they sound like Fall, Play, and Ride, those EPs. But yeah, definitely Whirlpool. The legacy of that album is monumental. The sounds on it, aided by Robin Guthrie on Auto Sleeper and Something More. The assistance of Robin Guthrie definitely propels that album to the stratosphere. The harmonies are very much like Ride, Patman, Sheriff, very much like Bell and Gardner. So, you can't really replace Ride with Chapterhouse in the top three because Chapterhouse they followed Ride. Maybe not consciously, but they did, and they came chronologically. Chronologically, they came after Ride. So they couldn't replace Ride in that top three. Pale Saints, could they be in there? Well, Shoegaze, Wall of Sound, they don't really have that, They're much more lightweight, dream pop. Ian Masters, a phenomenally unique, aggressively unique vocalist. Wow. That choir boy voice is just unparalleled, and it gives them such a distinctive sound. The Boo Radleys, wow, phenomenal, mate, phenomenal. The Boo Radleys early EPs, more people need to hear this stuff. Every Heaven, Boo Up, Adrenaline EP, Adrenaline, some phenomenal stuff on there. The Adrenaline EP. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the tracks on there, but the effects usage on there, it's just Martin Carr he's going overboard, and Sice's vocals are really great, soft gliding vocals. Fire Sky, wow, what a track! What a track! Fire Sky from Everything's Alright Forever. Wow. If the Boo Radleys kept this up, if they stayed in that vein of this album, then they would definitely be the fourth member. On Creation Records, they had just moved to Creation Records from Rough Trade at this point. So they moved to the right record label, Creation Records, the UK's finest indie label, along with this label here. And that's the legendary 4AD. Ivor Watts Russell, Vaughan Oliver, Envelope 23, Nigel Grierson, and Vaughan Oliver. Incredible. They package music with a visual accompaniment. Is that the word? Accompaniment. But they paired the visual arts with audio arts, and that was what 4AD were all about. Alma Road, they were kicking out record after record in the 1980s. Cocteau Twins, prolific. Lush, Pale Saints, Swallow, incredible. Diff Juz, wow, another big precursor to the genre. A great post-punk band. Diff Juz, Wolfgang Press, This Mortal Coil. Why do you think Ride walk out to fit when they play live? Phenomenal track, phenomenal. That was Ivor Watts Russell's band, and I think a fourth member really should be from the 4AD label because, as I said, 4AD and Creation were the drivers of independent music at that time, the late 80s, early 90s especially. You get these labels together, you've got some hot curry, man. You've got a hot soup right here. These two labels, there they are, side by side. Two giants of independent music. And as much as people go on about Sub Pop and SST Records in America, these guys completely obliterated their output. They really did, and that's not coming from a biased British perspective. I think Creation and 4AD did way more for music globally than SST and Sub Pop ever did. Much more interesting acts. Although I wouldn't knock SST too much. I mean, Husker D were on there. Bad Brains, Circle Jerks, Saccharine Trust. I mean, these are big, big American bands. Dinosaur Jr., obviously. Sonic Youth were on there. But I mean, you can't really knock Creation, what they became, and they deserved every bit of success they got in the end. Come 1996, Nebworth, Oasis, they broke the mold, didn't they, for independent? They showed you how far it could go before it breaks. And that's the fine line you're always riding, being an independent label boss. And my respect for Alan McGee is huge. I think such a icon, such a scion of music, and certainly one to follow. I respect McGee way more than Wilson. Harold will not Harold. That's a politician, Labour politician. I mean, what's he called again? The Factory Records guy. Tony Wilson, Granada TV. He was already a rich boy coming into this industry. Like, he had all the money behind him, all of the privilege. Alan McGee, just a wee lad from Glasgow, listened to punk rock one day and decided, that's it. This is what I want to do with my life. I want to be in the industry. Went down to London with nothing more than just his bass guitar and like a sleeping bag, and probably an amplifier as well, like a little micro Marshall or something, and went down and slept on top of buildings and like just crashed on like people's flats and stuff, and all of a sudden he created the best label in UK independent history. It's phenomenal. He was going toe to toe with Island Records, with Capitol Records, with Chris Blackwell at Island, and you couldn't really get bigger. He was going toe to toe with Polydor, Phonograph, Parlophone, EMI, toe to toe with these guys. And obviously Rough Trade, but Jeff Travis and stuff. He really helped with the distribution of both Creation and 4AD labels. So you can't really rule Rough Trade out of this with their powerful P&D publishing and distribution sector. And then you've got like Ian McNay as well, Cherry Red Records. Really, really powerful guys. Mute, Daniel Miller at Mute Records. Depeche Mode. Wow. Enjoy the silence. But I think that if there's going to be a fourth member, it's got to be from the 4AD stable. I think you've got to look at it's got to be Lush, hasn't it? Really. Because Lush, they were around from 1987 with Mary O'Barham from Pale Saints, so that gives them an extra bonus point for having a member of another legendary shoegaze band. They started in 87, that's 1 year before Ride, same year as Chapterhouse. Lush did lots more. They did the Scar EP, the Sweetness and Light EP. They did this. You know, they did this, they did that, and then they did Spooky. They did the Gala compilation. They did Splits. All of that is shoegaze material. Split is still very shoegaze. It's mixed by Alan Moulder, the legendary Alan Moulder. Spooky's mixed by Robin Guthrie, so that they were working with two of the best, the most famed producers in shoegaze, Robin Guthrie and Alan Moulder. How sick is that? And yeah, and I think the songwriting's really great. Deluxe, Super Blast, Nothing Natural. You know, the classics roll on and on. Thought Forms, Scarlet. So much good material, and Emma Anderson is a really underrated guitarist. I think she used the Roland GP16, the chorus effect on it, especially. And yeah, it has to be Lush, really. The only other contender I would think, because they offer an alternative route to the genre, they offer a different side of the spectrum to it, and which is the dance side. And I would say that Curve definitely deserve a mention, because they've definitely got a valid case for that fourth spot, because of they offer that dance element to it. You know, this is shoegaze that could actually get people on the dance floor, and you could rave to this. So you got the ravers and rockers uniting over this band. Cuckoo, Doppelganger. I mean, look at their EP collection. Look, you know, look at how much material they've got. You know, all of those EPs, the Blindfold EP, the Frozen EP, the Cherry EP, the Fate EP. Amazing. Look at those tracks: Frozen, Cherry, Galaxy. Galaxy is amazing. That really, really powerful song, really loud, and I like how the wah pedal comes on at the end, just really funky and everything. Tony Halliday, a great frontwoman. Dean Garcia, amazing sonic innovator. Great bass player as well. Rick Beato even featured one of his bass lines on his like top 20 bass lines of all time for the song Horrorhead. So I think it dwindles down to Lush and Curve, you know, because Lush have that they've got that long staying pedigree. You know, they've got the longevity, and they've got the duo female vocals, and that, which is really influential on like bands that would come later, like Blushing, for example. Blushing. There's another song. There was another band, wasn't there? Something Sisters. But yeah, I mean, Lush are really, really influential, and one of the more famous bands of. They were one of the biggest one of the more successful in the charts as well, along with Ride. Mickey Perenni, beautiful. She had a stunning appearance with that red hair. You know, so they tick all the boxes really for that fourth spot. But Curve would definitely push them. The only thing that lets Curve down is the lack of material. So after Cuckoo, their second album, they went totally EDM, you know, big beats with like Chinese Burn, stuff like that, before returning with Gift in 2001, which actually featured some tracks with Kevin Shields on it, like Perish, for example. This track Perish has got Kevin Shields' guitar work on it, and that was a return to their original sound. So it's either Lush or Curve for me. I mean, the Americans would like me to say Swirlies, Medicine, and I think there's a case for that as well, because they did bring shoegaze like over the pond to America. They did bring it to the other side of the Atlantic. So there's a case you could vouch for Medicine, Lilies, you know, Kurt Heasley with that you know, that first album, and even the second one actually, the Photon, was it the Photon album or something with the blue lava lamp kind of thing. Um, but the first one is great, which is In the Presence of Nothing, of course. Um, you know, Snowblinder and Elizabeth Color Wheel. There's even a band named after that. I mean, that's just how good that song is. Really, you know, the impressionism of shoegaze really comes out there, where you've got the fuzz, you know, the sadness and that, with that kind of droopy kind of flanger going on, and it really sets the mood. And the Wall of Distortion is just like that cathartic moment where you're letting all that pain out. And I really like what Kurt Heasley did with that track. So, you know, you've got Chapterhouse just didn't do enough material for me. I mean, you've got Whirlpool, Blood Music just isn't great. You know, you can tell that even by the demos and stuff. So, you know, I think it's got to be Lush really at number 4. And, you know, I really hope people comment on this video. I'm going to wrap it up now. I hope people comment with your 4th place pick. And I want a good reason about why it should be that. I don't want any, like, people stropping about it or anything. I want a valid reason why the band of your choice deserves that 4th spot. And it doesn't have to be from the 90s, from the original wave. It can be Airiel. It could be Flying Colours. I mean, Airiel are probably the best shoegaze band of all time. I mean, they make My Bloody Valentine look like amateurs in a way. I mean, Jeremy Wren is a genius, and, you know, so you can make a case for Airiel, you can make a case for Flying Colours, Ringo Deathstarr. So yeah, comment please make a comment in the comments. So yeah, take care, dudes, and yeah, Ride in August, Flying Colours in September. Might be attending the Boo Radleys in November, but it's not quite the same without Martin Carr, is it? But maybe I might go to it anyway, because they're still playing some of the old stuff, like Finest Kiss from the Every Heaven EP. So there's still some old stuff being played. So yeah, take care, guys. Peace out. Love you.